y'all, it's Shannon. So I'm coming at you with part 2 of my Olive Nation haul, what I like to think of as the Great Cocoa Powder Debate. So if you didn't know, I absolutely love and adore Valrhona cocoa powder, as well as their chocolates. I've hauled their chocolate before. I really, really love it. The cocoa powder is quite spendy. I mean, all the chocolate's quite spendy, but worth every penny. That being said, I like to sell at the farmer's market, so I tend to bake at a level where I need stuff kind of in a, maybe not like a full wholesale size. I probably could do like a 3 kilo. I wouldn't want something that's like 3 kilos. That's like 6 pounds, 6.6 pounds of like cocoa powder, or like 2 kilos or whatever. But I was like, I do need like a poundage size. Like I need to be able to order like 1 or 2, or I don't know that I need 3 pounds, but something along those lines where I can order kind of what I would say is a more retail bulk friendly size. I don't know. Anyways, so to get a pound of Valrhona cocoa powder on average, I find it for about $20 a pound. About a year or so ago, I was able to get it for, I found a steal of a deal for 15, but that I bought like one of the last ones at that price, and then it went up to like 20 or 25 a pound. So it's quite a pricey cocoa powder, but I love it and I think it's wonderful. And so I'm in the midst of the Great Cocoa Powder Debate because I want to find something that is kind of comparable to it in terms of flavor, richness, and deliciousness. That sort of instigated this purchase, which is why it's all cocoa powders and chocolate sprinkled. So this is the Aristocrat. This is the Olive Nation brand, I believe. The Aristocrat Dutch 2224 fat cocoa powder. So if you didn't know, I feel like you guys get so much information and rants out of this channel. Cocoa powder comes at different fat content levels. So I'm trying to think, like when you get chocolate, like you get it at different cocoa butter or cocoa content levels. So like dark chocolate could be 70, 80, 90%. White chocolate is generally if it's real white chocolate, it can be as little as, I want to say, like 15% white or cocoa butter solids, and up to like X amount of like whatever. I've seen it as high as like 35, and that's Valrhona makes one of the highest cocoa butter content white chocolates. I also make what I personally feel is one of the best ones. I haven't tried. I really want to try like Callebaut and a few other brands, but I was like, at least the ones I've been able to get a hold of, by and far, I feel like that's one of the better ones. So back to the cocoa powder debate. So anyway, so you can get different fat contents, and that adds to the unctuous, to the richness of it. And it's like butter. It's kind of one of those things that adds to it. And so I wanted to try something with a higher fat content, and I do tend to like a Dutch type of cocoa powder in general for what I like to do. A lot of times that's the best option. So this was a separate order from my previous one, and I also got the diced lemon peel. So clearly I'm going to need to make some panettone. And then I ordered some of these vermicelli sprinkles, which, if you don't know what this is, these are actual, so this is by Callebaut, and I do quite like Callebaut as a brand. I find it not as accessible to me. Olive Nation has quite a few different varieties of Callebaut pistils that you can get. They're chocolates, and Callebaut is a very well-known brand. A lot of chocolatiers, ateliers use Callebaut. A lot of them use Valrhona. A lot of them use like cacao berry, which I swear cacao berry and Callebaut are, I don't know if they're related. I just feel kind of like they are, but I don't know enough, and I have a really hard time, like the Google Translate has issues with sometimes trying to figure something out. So anyway, so this is Callebaut Vermicelli Dark. So it is actual, made from chocolate. So most chocolate sprinkles are just brown sprinkles. This is actually made from chocolate. So it's sugar, unsweetened chocolate, cocoa powder, cocoa processed chocolate, and then cocoa processed with alkali butterfat. So it's actually made from chocolate, which is like you can find it, but it is hard to get. And I wanted to try these. And this is the Cacao Berry White Vermicelli, another brand I'd really like to dive deeper into and try some more chocolates from. But again, for like what I need, like retail size, I guess it's a lot harder to get. Like Valrhona is one of the most accessible ones, at least for me, online and stuff. They have great websites for the U.S., them and Calabo, but they don't offer anything for sale, and they don't tell me where to go if I want to get retail sizes of it. Which, FYI, Olive Nation does carry some of these. I just haven't bought them from them yet because I'm not convinced they're the best price, and I don't know. I think their turnover is fairly quick, but I don't know how quick. I am that person. I want the freshest product I can afford. So, and anyway, so this is the white chocolate version of that one, and it is by Cacao Berry. You see why I think they might be kind of semi-related companies, which I'm pretty sure they are, like, distant relatives, I feel like. But again, I don't know how that works out, and their websites look somewhat similar, I guess, too, is the other thing. So, but in terms of the way they're like structured, but maybe they both just have the same website designers. I don't know. Anyways, like I said, that would be my thing is if someone from Cacao Berry or Berry Calabo could make retail versions more readily accessible to people, it would be really, really nice for the home baker and stuff, because we like to really bake good stuff too. Thank you. I was like, so this is my Valrhona cocoa powder because I wasn't gonna not have it, okay? So I picked up a small 8-ounce container of it, and when I bought this stuff, it was when the cocoa powders were, I want to say 20% off. But I love this stuff. Oh, it's so freaking good. It's so freaking good. This is my favorite cocoa powder I've ever used. So I had to get some so that I could compare it to the others. And I've been doing, so I made this into my gluten-free almond flour brownie. Like, you can get I say it's mine, but it's a recipe I use that's off King Arthur flour. If I remember, I'll link it below. If you're interested in it, I don't remember, let me know in the comment section below, because I'm only human and that could happen. So, so far, I really love this. I think it's wonderful. I'm not so good at showing the pictures, and I don't have a great camera necessarily. And it's a bag in a bag in a bag, and I kind of hate pulling these out because cocoa powder is that one thing that it tends to fly everywhere. It's fairly close in color, not exactly the same, but fairly close. So I actually, if you couldn't tell, I had a pound of this one. I have loved this one thus far, which is why I really haven't opened a whole lot of the other ones, to be honest, because I was like, wow, this one's really good, and it's very reasonably priced. So I did get an 8-ounce container of this, though, because I do want to do like side-by-side comparisons. I just need to have a big enough group of people that will eat it and let me know, which I should just do like. So, but I picked up a lot of cocoa powder, y'all. Really, this is going to take a while. So this is the Dutch 2022 Fat Organic Cocoa Powder. I don't think the organic is going to make it taste any better necessarily, but sometimes that is a thing for some people. Again, I really like Dutch. You can see maybe that this is a much lighter color than this. Yeah, you can see. So it looks way more like oh yeah, that's a pretty big difference. So I just, really like that. And I got the Bins Drop 2224 Dutch cocoa powder, the fat content again. And like you'll see, like there is color differences noticeable with these, which just makes it, an interesting thing. Okay, so this is the Blommer Jet Black cocoa powder. This is what I use when I make Oreos, my homemade, like a homemade version of an Oreo. And I love this stuff. And I will say Olive Nation has one of the better prices on this. So, especially if you can catch it when they have sales. But that doesn't go into that, because really the black cocoa powder, flavor-wise, it's not adding a whole lot flavor-wise. It's more of a way to make something colored, is what I would say, in a more natural type way. So this is the Teton Cocoa Powder by Blommer. That is Blommer down there, that jet black. So this is their Teton. I forget what this doesn't have the fat content listed, but like I know for sure it's definitely probably not. So the closest coloring wise, and I think this is, I want to say like a 15%. I think the Valrhona is like a 15% fat content. I don't know. And then I got the Amber Natural 2224 fat cocoa powder. So I got the natural rather than the Dutched. So there are different ways that obviously all this stuff can be processed. So this is just cocoa powder. So I just wanted to try these out and, like I said, kind of do comparisons and contrasts and taste things and see kind of what I liked better, what I didn't, you know, how did that make a difference. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird that I wanted to buy 6 different kinds of cocoa powder and see how they were different. I like to have, you know, I like variety is the spice of life. That's how I feel. I don't know. I just know I really love my Valrhona cocoa powder, and I really wanted something that was kind of comparable, but hopefully a little bit more friendly to my pocketbook, given the amount of cocoa powder I use. So, like, I make what I call Death by Chocolate croissants. Dark chocolate cocoa. It's a cocoa powder based dough, so it's got cocoa powder in it, and then it's got chocolate inside, and it's chocolate rolled inside the croissant, and then chocolate drizzled on the outside, and then the little like put the little vermicelli flakes and stuff. So it's a lot. So I want something though that the cocoa powder. I'm looking for a very specific flavor profile with that cocoa powder. I want, like, if you were to just eat that without the chocolate inside, without the chocolate on the outside, I want you to still know it's chocolate. Not to be like, is this rye? I want you to be like, okay, it's chocolate. It's not real sweet because it's not sweet until you put the chocolate in and on and all the other layers. But I was like, I want you to know, okay, this is chocolate. Or get that feeling and that sense of like, this is chocolate, you know? So that's kind of what I'm looking for. And I used that in the croissants the last 2 times, and it seems to be going pretty well. So I've got to try these other ones though, and I'm going to probably put those in brownies because I feel like that's one of the best ways to test it out, is because brownies don't lie, and they are cocoa powder basically. And I was like, I could make those, because I usually add, like, the ones I make, I really like to add almond extract and I like to add vanilla. I was like, I will probably just strictly stick with cocoa powder and not add any extra flavoring, but I really do want to do a full-on taste test, so I have to get to that. Anyways, that's a lot of rambling, a lot of information about cocoa powder that probably most people never wanted to know, and someone totally clicked off and is looking at something else now, which is fine. But for those of you that stuck with it, I really do appreciate it. I hope that means that you're as big a food nerd and as big a science nerd as I am. And some of you probably know way more about this than I do. Like I said, I just kind of dabble and I'm interested, and I think the process of getting like cocoa chocolate into chocolate from the cocoa bean is amazing. Like, Valrhona has some really cool videos on their YouTube channel on how it gets done. Like, they're very short, but I've read a few different books and stuff, and I like, what's her name? Pam Williams. She does L'Ecole Chocolat. She's got a YouTube channel too, and she's got a book that is really fascinating on, like, what all goes into chocolate making. I mean, like, just to get the beans alone. Like, it's really fascinating. So, you know, the fermentation process and how it's done, and depending on where you're at, the different varieties, different genetic aspects. Like, it's just really cool, I think. You know, it's like nature's version of art. So I just like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Do me a huge favor, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you later. I hope you have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.